Hi guys, this is Lisa, coming back to you with another video for Lisa Wise Designs. And if you missed the name change for my channel, just go back one video and it'll explain everything. So I thought, since a lot of us are at home right now, due to unforeseen circumstances, right, that we could do some crafting together from our stash. You don't have to go out and buy. If you have leftover some other projects, this is perfect for that. So this tiny album, of course it's not finished, but this will just give you an overview. So this is going to be a pocket that you don't even have to glue down. We did something similar to this at Made It Con a couple years ago. So that's kind of where this rough draft is coming from. Of course, it's going to look prettier than this, right? But this is what it's going to kind of look like, and it's made from 2 file folders. Okay, so what do you need to make the project? Well, you need 2 file folders. You can use any color that you have. I happen to have black in that example. I've got some gray ones here. I picked this up from Office Depot not too long ago, and it's got all different colors of file folders in it. These are letter size, so just any file folders you have, even if they're the manila, it's fine. Just whatever you've got to use. So 2 file folders. Now, it's important to have one that has the tab at the top and a tab in the center. Those are the 2 that you're going to need. Now, keep in mind if you have one that's got the tab at the bottom, you can fold it inside out and use it, right, for the tab at the top. But these are the 2 that we're going to need to make this project work, okay? I've got some ribbon. This is actually Hug Snug seam binding in black. It just kind of happens to match my paper, so I'm going to use that. And then I have a ton of leftovers from a Disney big mini album. It's a mini album, but it's big. And so I have lots of things left over from big pieces, like a quarter of a sheet, you know, to tiny strips. I kept everything till I was done. I had, like I said, lots of stickers left over. I only used a few of, you know, on these couple of sheets because I had multiples, of course. So let's put this to good work, right? Don't have to go out and buy anything else. So the first thing we need to do is put together the mini album. So I'm going to take the file folder that has the top notch, I guess you would call it. That's the one we're going to use. Now, you could use your scoreboard, but I'm not going to. I'm going to make this as easy as possible. I'm going to open it up. Okay, I am going to get me a bone folder. Any kind you have is fine. So, as you can see, this long strip right here on the left-hand side, what we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom and we're going to match it up here to the top of this tab, and we're going to fold it. So, just to make it easier on me, I'm going to turn it around, but I'm going to take this bottom and I'm going to meet it up to this tab here in the center. Okay, and I'm just going to do the best I can to kind of line that up. Okay, right there you can see where it's lined up. And we don't do perfect, right? And then get this started. Kind of try to hold that down. Try to meet up here all the way over to that score line that's already there. And try to line that back up, not make a new score line if possible. Okay, so just take your time and work this all the way down. And I'm going to try to line this one up so that maybe we've got a perfect fold, but hey, even file folders are not made perfectly. So even if you lined it up exact, because I tried and tried one time to do it absolutely exact, never could get it to work exactly right. Okay, so that's all we've done so far is we open up the file folder. We used a top tab, opened it up, and then we folded the bottom to match the center here, just like that. So now, if you're using a letter file folder, I believe this is about it's a little less than 4 inches was the fold. And I'm just going to push this down really well and give it a good score. Okay, so step number 2 is I'm going to fold it backwards on that original score line that came with the file folder. I'm just going to bend it backwards and give it a good score. Okay. Going to kind of have to retrain the paper to do this. Okay. Fold it forward. All right. So now, as you folded it backwards, you made a nice score, just like that. Okay. So I'm just going to open it back up. Now I'm going to fold this in. And see how mine is not going to be perfect? I don't think I've ever made one that was absolutely perfect. And I'm going to take this top edge and line it up with this score line. So this is going to stick out. So I'm going to kind of kiss that up to the score line. I'm going to try to see if I can get this to line up at the bottom as best I can. I'm not going to go over the score line. And this is going to stick out the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it to just make it easier on me, and I'm going to create a score. So since we've got about 4 different pieces here that's layered up on top of each other, got to really score it. There we go. Now, so once again, this is what we're doing. So we've got this part done. And so this book, you can open it like this, or you can do it this way. And of course, we're going to do the back. So now what we have to do is this back piece here. We've got to get this folded. When I was doing this, the way it looked the best is that the back folds line up together like this. You kind of want these back folds to be as even as possible here. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to turn it over, and where I've got it folded, I'm just going to fold this piece to meet it. And I believe it's going to be about 4 1/8. Is that right? Oh, this one's right about 4 inches. If you wanted it to be perfect, you could use your scoreboard. But I am just going to fold it. I find working with these file folders that's a little easier because they're not perfectly manufactured. Okay, all I did was I lined up the edges there to the best of my ability. And now I've got so many layers, I gotta really give it a good score. So this is an awesome investment. If you don't have a Teflon bond folder, I know they're a little pricey. They run about $20, I think, $16, $20. I use it every day in every project. It is absolutely worth it. But any bone folder will do, right? So now we have our little booklet. Isn't that easy? Let me run over the steps one more time. So all we did is we started with a file folder with a top tab. We opened it up. We looked on the left-hand side. We matched these 2 pieces up and folded it. Okay, and then from there we folded it to the back. Okay, this is going to be our front piece now. So we just lined up this score line. I'll open it up. We lined up the center score line that was already there from the file folder with this fold. We kind of kissed it. This is going to hang over, which is fine. Okay, then we flipped it over. What we wanted to do was line up this edge and this edge. So we just kind of put those together and scored it. I'm going to do another little score here. Make that a little better. Okay. So this is what it's going to look like. It's so much fun. I think kids would enjoy doing this. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to put ribbon on here for a closure. Let me show you an example. So in this example, what's going to happen is that your ribbon comes from the back and the side, and you would fold it and make a little bow. So the easiest way I found to do this is when you open this up, before you put down your matting, you will want to put your ribbon. I think this other example might show it a little clearer. Yeah, so before you mat, what we're going to do is we're going to put our ribbon here right below where the tab is. Okay, so let's do that. What I did is I took a 12-inch, which is this one, and a 17-inch strip of whatever ribbon that you have. This is 1/2 inch, and I'm going to put that in my book. So I'm going to stack them on top of each other, and I'm going to start on the bottom with the longest piece because it's going to wrap around the book. Okay, so the 17-inch piece first. So I am going to use art glitter glue, and I think I'm going to use some tape just because it's going to get some work. So I haven't used my glue yet today. I'll get that ready. Love my art glitter glue. Put my pen where I can find it. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little down right below the tab here. Okay, and put that down because see, I want this to cover it up, right? So push that down. Then the shorter piece, which is 12 inches, I'm just going to put it right on top of it. So I'm going to put some glue. Uh-oh. That's what I was afraid of. Gonna have to give it a little time to dry. Put the 12-inch piece here right on top. Use my Teflon bone folder so it won't stick to that. Put my pen in. And I think I'm going to put a little piece of Scotch tape on top of that because it is going to get some work, right? Because we're going to pull and tugging on it, even with that art glitter glue. So this is going to be covered up by our matting here. So just going to give this a good burnish. Okay, simple and easy so far, right? So really now all we have to do is the fun part, which is to decorate. So you would get out all your scraps and you would start decorating. So what I have done for the sake of time is I went ahead and cut some pieces from my Disney paper. And if you're wondering what I'm using Simple Stories. This is Say Cheese 2, and I probably have Say Cheese 1 and Say Cheese, I think there's a third one. I think I had all of them and used them all up. So, but that is where these came from, is that line of papers from Simple Stories. And so I used this branding strip to my advantage. So it is going to be tucked down in here. You're not going to see it, but I didn't need a longer piece because of that. A lot of times we think, oh, it's not going to work because it's not exactly the right size. And you're not going to see it anyway, so it works perfect. I'm going to move this over here. So the way I did my matting, so let me grab my 10 holtz ruler. And a lot of the supplies that I'm using or the tools that I'm using, you can find at maymaymadeit.com, and I'll link as many of those as I can below. So I'm going to measure from the edge to the first score line, and it's just shy of 4 inches. So I cut this at 3 7/8. You don't have to be that exact, but you know, accounting is my job, so I'm a little crazy when it comes to that kind of stuff. So if you're wondering, how do you get this shape here? Well, I'll show you what I do. What I do is I go ahead and cut straight how I want this to line up, which is 1/4 of an inch on both sides shorter than the measurement. And then I'm going to take it and put it to the back. So I'm going to look on the back. I'm going to line up where this would land. Just like this. Pretty close. Okay, I'm going to hold it. And then I'm just going to take my pencil, excuse my head, and I'm going to draw, you can see, this little bitty piece that's sticking out. I'm going to draw that shape. Okay, I'm going to take my detail scissors here. These are from Fiskars. And I'm going to cut this down. And since I had already inked the edges, I'm gonna now ink this edge so I can see it. And let's see how well I did. So that's pretty good. That looks pretty good there, okay. So I did the same thing here. I went through all of my shapes and I went ahead and measured them. So this one is 4.5 because it's got this extra tab piece. But I decided to just go ahead and match it up with this one, 3 7/8. Okay, so this piece is 3 7/8, so it matches the one at the top, even though it has this leftover piece here, tab. And I did 3 5/8. Like I said, you don't have to get this exact. I just like mine to be 1/4 of an inch shorter than the space. So I'm just going to go through here and do that on all of them. So now I have this really camera piece that's so pretty. Instead of using pattern paper here, I'm going to use my beautiful daughter. This was her trip to Disney for her senior trip a couple of years ago. That's going to go here. That's going to go here. And here. And so the last one is the largest piece that you will have. And on the bottom, see it's 1/8 of an inch shot at 5 inches. So you need bigger pieces here. And so I kind of want to bookend my scrapbook paper so you can see how these are the same patterns that kind of pulls everything together. And even though this is all kind of different patterns, it's in the same color palette that came in the paper. So it looks awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down and be right back. Okay, now that we've got the inside matted, let's turn it over and do the outside of the album. And once again, how I did my matting is I just measured my space and took off 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so now this is going to be the outside of the album. So this piece here with the tab coming down to the bottom will be the front when we fold it. Better put my pen and my glue. And this will be the back, the big piece, and then the middle pieces. So I have this photo that I'm going to use on the inside of the book. Isn't this great with Halloween 2015 at Disneyland? Put that there. Okay, I really wanted to give a lot of layers on the front to make it extra special. So I'm going to put this down here, and this is at 3 7/8 by 7.5. So like I say, you don't have to be that fiddly, but I really like mine to have that 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Then I'm going to put an inch piece, that would be 1 inch by 7.5, on the end there to give another layer. And then I love to be able to use up the cards that come, or the cut aparts that come in a paper pack. Sometimes cards, cut apart, sometimes just different pieces, right? So this is one of those 3x5 cards. Yeah, a 3x5 card. I didn't have any 4x6s left, so I really like this one. And then I just cut a piece 1/2 inch bigger on both sides to give it a little bit bigger border here to put on the front. So cute. All right, so on the very back, of course, this piece was bigger. We talked about that a minute ago. So I have this piece I had left over my paper back. See how it's got that shine, that foil? And I did not want that to go to waste, right? So I really wanted to use it, even if I cut it off. You can still tell what it is. So this is 4.5 by 7.5, so it will fit there perfectly. And just leave that tab. Sorry about that shine, but it is so pretty. Now let's do the middle pieces. So once again, I want to show off the whole reason for this trip. My daughter, this was her senior trip. She's showing off her t-shirt that we made. Well, Cricut, by the way. And I think this goes here, and I'm going to put another border here and put this one here. So what I like to do is, the reason I put this one over here and skipped one is I already had this with wording. So I wanted this to be, you know, a couple of pieces away from that. And so my tip when putting two pieces together is to make it look finished, is just cut you another strip. Like this one, it didn't have to be exactly 1/2 inch. I really wanted to show off these stars, but it happened to be right at about 1/2 inch. And see, when you put that on top, it looks finished, right? So I love tickets, so I'm gonna put those here. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I think that will look pretty right there, kind of pulling those two together. And I purposely did not have these be even, so kind of your eye kind of goes, you know, across the page. Okay, I'm gonna glue these down and be right back, and we will work on how to make the tabs for the pockets on the inside with that second file folder. Okay, so now I've got the back of my album all matted. It's looking so good so far. So of course, any of these pattern papers you could replace with photos if you want to put more photos on yours. And you would kind of want to do that as you go, so you would know which spots that you wanted to put. And if you're wondering why I didn't cut like full sheets all the way down, like the front and the back, it's because I wanted to use up those scraps. And a lot of times, these are the pieces that I had left over, and it looks wonderful having these pieced together. So I wanted to show you, one of the pieces I have is a little too short. I really loved these cameras and wanted to use that. So I thought when we get to the sticker part or some other embellishments, we would cover that up and make it look like it was planned, right? So now, this is so cute so far. So now what we need to do is we need to make our inside pullouts, right? Because these are pockets. Now, I did not glue mine down. If you wanted to, you can, but I just leave it flapping open. But we need to make the pullouts that's going to come out of the mini album. So here's an example of what will go in here. Here's the big one and small, right? So I'm going to be making it out of that other gray file folder. So just going to move all this out to the side. It's just going to be so cute. And see, when you pull this around and you can tie it. Love. Okay. Okay. Enough of that. So here is that other file folder that had the center tab there. So the first thing we want to do is cut, or if you're brave, you could tear it in half. So I'm just going to cut it, this pieces out of here, on the original score line. Okay, to get these two pieces. So let me show you an example so that you can kind of get this in your mind of what I'm going to do. So here's what the original file folder looks like, right? It's these two pieces. It's this piece here and this piece, right? So this is what the file folder looks like. So what I'm going to be doing on the top piece is, see, I'm going to be cutting out here, leaving this big tab. I'm going to come over 1.5 inches to leave this tab, and we'll cut here, okay? And then we're going to do something similar here. I'm going to be cutting where the tab is, so I've got this tab piece at the top on both of them. All right, hope that makes sense. So let me go back to my example again so that you can see this is what it's going to look like. So of course I had to go back and round some corners, but this is what they look like. Cool, huh? Really neat. All right, so let's get started on that one. So I'm going to take the top piece, the one that's got the two humps on them. Okay, here's my example. Keep it straight here. So what I'm going to do on this one is I want it to be 7 inches long. So from the top of the tab, I'm going to cut down 7 inches. That way we only got to cut that piece once. Okay, and so this I'm not going to use. All right, so now we've got that done. So what we want to do is we're going to come over from the left-handed side here, 4 3/8. Of course, you don't have to be that exact, but you know me. So I'm going to come to the 4 1/2 and go over to 4 3/8. 4 3/8 is right between 1/2 and 3/4. Okay, so that's going to be one tab. That here. Now I want this one. I want part of this tab here. So what I'm going to do, just roughly, I'm going to take Doesn't have to be exact, but I'm going to come over from my tab, and I want it to be my tab about 1.5 inches. I just like that look. So I started from the tab, and I went over, made me a mark, 1.5 inches. There we go, away. So I'm going to put that mark here and cut. All right, so now I've got this tab here. So I want it to be 3 3/4 wide. So I'm going to flip that over and put it at 3 3/4. Throw those pieces away. So now I'm going to do some corner rounding, but here's going to be my tabs. Okay, makes sense? So that's all we did here. I'll hold this still in case you want to see it one more time. Okay, so we're going to move on to that other piece, the back part of the file folder that's got the little one hump here in the center. Okay, and I'll show you this right here. What we're going to do is we're going to come over 1.5 inches, over 1.5 inches. I'm going to make a mark, and then I'm going to make 2 that are 3 3/4 wide and 7 inches long. So the easiest way to do that, from the top of the tab, I want these to be 7 inches. So it's kind of hard to see where the 7 inches is since this is in the center, right? So I'm just gonna take my ruler, butt it up against the top of the tab, and just make a little mark where 7 inches is. It wouldn't be terrible if it was off a hair or two. Okay? So now it's 7 inches. We only have to cut that one time. So I'm gonna take my ruler, and I'm going to turn this over, make it a little easier on me. So from the left side of the tab, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches. From the right side of the tab, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches because I want a tab there. So once again, this is what we're doing. Coming over from the tab, 1.5 inches, over from this side of the tab, 1.5 inches. Okay? And I'm just going to make that cut. I'll move over and I'll make that cut. And throw away this center piece. So now that I have my 2 pieces, I want them to be 3 3/4 wide. So now I've got this piece with a tab. And do the same thing here. Be careful how you're putting it into your trimmer, right? To make sure you keep the good piece that you want, which is the tab. 3 3/4. Turn that up. So it's a few steps. Yes, I will admit it's quite a few steps to do this, but you use up those file folders, especially if you're going to throw them away, and you don't have to cut tabs. They're already cut for you, right? So here's that second one more time if you want to take a look at that, how I did it. Okay. I'm going to get my corner rounder. I'm telling you, this is another great investment. I use this all the time. So I'm going to use this on the 1.5 inch, and I'm going to round any corners at the top. So the way you use this is where it's closed. So you pull the little wings out, and so you've got these guides right here on the side with these little bumps. So it's going to go straight in between that V shape right up to those little bumps, and see, it makes a really nice corner rounder. There's all kind of corner rounders. They have been around a long time. The reason I really like this one is it has 2 sides. It does a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch, depending on what you've got going on. If you're doing smaller pieces, 1/4 inch looks great. Bigger pieces, of course, 1/2. And also, it doesn't take a lot of hand strength to do this. Some other ones, especially the ones you push down on, take a little more strength. So now we've got these really cute inserts. All right, so back to our project. Open this up here. So now we have this one really big one that we did. So it goes on the big side here. And then we have these others that are all the same. So you could turn some around if you had a different color on the other side of your file folder. you wanted to here. And so I'm going to take my daughter's picture, and it fits just perfectly right here. And then I think I'm going to do a little decorating. So let's go ahead and glue this down, some art glitter glue. And then I'm going to get out my stickers and see how we can jazz this up a little bit. So I'm going to put her near the top here. I could, of course, cut it down some if I want, but I really don't want to. I really love this. This was her favorite character at Disney. That's why we went to Disneyland at Halloween time, even though it was her senior trip. She really wanted to meet Jack Sparrow. That's not Jack Sparrow. She's gonna kill me. Skellington. Jack Sparrow's her other favorite though, so I'm kind of right anyway. I watched this movie one time with her, Nightmare Before Christmas. It's not my favorite, okay? Don't tell her. You know, these ties would be really cute with some washi. Let me see. I had all these little tidbit things left over. So look, this has got mouse ears on it. It's little washi tape. So I really think this would be cute to make it look like it's being held on just by this little piece of washi. And I like for it to have rough edges, like it's torn, because hey, that is what it's supposed to look like, right? But since I want it to last a long time, you know, washi is made to be not as strong as adhesive as, you know, you might want. So I'm going to put a little bit of art glitter glue underneath it. I'm not going to worry if it shows through. Okay, and I'm going to push this down so it kind of looks like that's what's holding it in place. Isn't that cutie patootie? So whatever you do to the top looks good if we can balance it out and put it at the bottom, but I want to make sure I don't cover up that Happy Halloween. And I'm going to put on this one, I'm just going to put it on the washi. Sorry, Disney, I'm covering up your copyright. Alright, and so then I'm going to take my bone folder. I'm going to really burnish that on there. The little art glitter glue came out. Just that little bitty thing is so cute, right? Love. Now, let's see. What do I have in my little bag of tricks here? I'm sure I've got something small. I guess you don't want to see the top of my head. This says, "You're the sweetest ticket." Oh, that's cute. I'm going to get my Distress ink here and get this out. So it's already got some ink on it. But I love to use this black soot on my projects if I'm using black cardstock usually. Okay, so let's see. I don't want to cover up Happy Halloween, so I think I'm just going to put it here at the top. And since the rule of threes my mother's been telling me about forever and a day in decorating, I'm going to put one more layer on top. So therefore we've got the washi, this little ticket, and then we've got this. And I think that will look really cute. Isn't that cute? So that's going to go there. Don't you love this? Using up all of those pieces that you have left over. This is so much fun. And kids could do this. Really, really could. Okay, so I really want to cover this up because it wasn't long enough and it's going to bother me. So I'm going to have to find something small. This says Magic Moments. Isn't that cute? I'm going to hit it with this. I could even put something over the hole if I wanted to. Put a little piece of string. That would be cute. So I've got some twine here. Let me use this black. I don't think that red's exactly that same shade. So I'm going to take some twine. I'm going to just pull it through the hole here and just tie it because it's a really, really tiny hole. So I think I'll just tie it at the top. And this will be cute and it'll look like that's what I meant to do all along. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Cute. So So glue this bad boy down, put glue toward the bottom of the piece. And then I'm going to kind of flush it up here to the side of the paper to where that mat was here. And see, we could even leave long strings on this one because the only thing that's going to be behind it is this other mat or picture that goes in there. What you think so far? Cute. Now I really want something here because it looks really naked. So I'm going to look through my stuff. Oh, that might do. Got some smaller ones. Might do. Take this out. So if I layered that here, almost, I think I need something else to go with it. Maybe something like this that comes off of it. And maybe I could ground it by putting some washi or something underneath it, or a strip of paper. Maybe paper. Let me look through all my strips here, because I got a ton. Okay, let's see if this strip will be long enough. Yeah. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll move this to the side. And I want this to be about right here to here. So do I want to go to the trouble of making that line? Let's see. Make it about that long. Hold on. I think I'm going to line it up with what we already have on our mat here. Trim this up. I'm going to hit the edges with my ink. Then I'll see if I need to trim it down to match those edges, or if I want to line it up. You know, I think I'm just going to glue it down and then trim it up. Okay, I think that would be the easiest thing to do. Let me know in the comments if you like these type videos of using your stash. Like I said, I know I'm going to do at least one more video. I wanted to make an infinity card or a never-ending card. I've never made one. I think it will be fun. They look really cool where you fold them for like 4 different directions and you see a different look to them. So I'm going to use up some more scraps, a different paper pack. Then this, just gonna back down that white just a little bit and put this on top of that. So the reason I'm doing this is to add layers, but this kind of helps ground, G-R-O-U-N-D, this, like it's supposed to be there, right? Like it's not floating. Okay, I don't think I want to put any ink on this one, but I want that to be here. I love hearts. I've always loved hearts, and I've loved Valentine paper. I'll have to show you a project later that I made with Valentine paper that I'm thinking about redoing for Christmas, just because I love the project, but Valentine's has already gone away. Okay. Now, this goes back in here. Isn't that cute? It's really coming along. So what you would do is you would trim down your photos, or you could use this for an autograph book, right? I know someone's been screaming at me, right? Use it in an autograph book. This will be really cute for that. You could put the pictures of characters, or you could take this to a birthday party. So cute. Hey guys, I wanted to show you how I finished up this mini album. I added some final touches to it to bring it some pop of color. So I've tied my bow here, so I'm going to untie that. So you can see I used some stickers here. I used some ephemera stickers there to kind of layer on top of each other to make a little wow statement on the front of the book. And then you open it up like this, or of course you could open it this way and turn the pages. I never did glue this down. I don't think there's any reason unless you just want to. So I used one of my pull-outs or tabs here, and I used a 3x5 card, and I documented where we were and why. Used some stickers here, some pattern paper. On my tab here, I just used some more of my washi tape and just layered on some stickers and things here. So I just left these blank for now. So this I did on video, but look how cute this turned out. This is so cute. I just love it. And then just add a little sentiment here that said, love this magic moment, because I did love this moment. That is the whole reason why we went on this trip. And so then once again, this is how this turned out by layering on some pattern paper and ephemera. So now let's flip this over. So this is the back. I just kind of left this plain because it's going to tend to get beat up here. I didn't add anything else to this, but I absolutely could if I wanted to, but I really wanted to show you how I finished it off. And please, if you decide to make one of these, I've started a new Facebook group. Please go over there and join it. It's Lisa Wise Designs, and I will link that down below. And so I've got a lot of cool things coming up in the future. I'm gonna have an Etsy shop under Lisa Wise Designs. I'm gonna have some kits for sale. I'm gonna have some tutorials that we can do together. So please just stay tuned, and thanks as always for your support. Bye guys.